So during the past year, the house prices have been rising way faster as compared to the wages of people. Many cryptocurrencies and stocks made a cascade of all-time highs. So today we need to have a look at what we could expect in 2022 for both the UK and USA housing markets. The property market has boomed in the past year despite the economic shock and uncertainty caused by COVID-19 as people reconsidered where they live and sought to lock into low mortgage rates. In UK, the government's cutting of stamp duty on house purchases worth under £500,000 introduced in July 2020 saved buyers up to £15,000 and prompted record number of transactions. Yet, despite expectations that the ending of the tax break would dampen activity in the housing market, this only prompted a short-lived slowdown. While in USA, the market entered a euphoria and the stock prices of companies like Zillow and Open-door first exploded and afterwards came crashing down. So we need to look beneath the surface to draw parallel between the 2008 market crash and the current market to see what we could expect in 2022. But first we need to have a solid overview of what went wrong in 2021, and then we will be better able to address what could be coming our way in 2022. So it was astonishing to see that the house prices rose faster than ever before in 2021, and each month we saw new records. And as I always say, markets are driven by emotions of fear and greed, but we need to look deeper. Even nowadays, for many working class families, having their own house is something which they deeply crave. The emotion which homeownership brings greatly contributes to the sense of security and well-being of middle class. But the US dollar is losing its purchasing power due to inflation, and therefore the purchasing power of the working class is suppressed, who rely on a paycheck to pay for amenities of life. It is mind-blowing to see the historic purchasing power of the US dollar and the way it has gone down over the past decades. And now we will look at some shocking data which will clarify everything. So this means that the working class pays more for their utility bills, food and fuel, and are left with much smaller amount for their mortgage payments. This means that houses were already going out of affordability range of middle class even if the prices had remained the same. But with the meteoric rise in house prices, it has become a dream for many people, and as the turmoil continues and as people pay huge prices to become homeowners, eventually foreclosures will increase and the bubble will pop. And if that was not enough, it is hard to imagine that people have been paying 10, 20 or even 30% over the asking price just to be the one who is going to buy that house. However, that has changed in the last few months. So in the last decade, the median home prices rose roughly 30% and incomes crept up just 11% over the same time frame. Over 50 years, the difference is even more striking. And after accounting for inflation, home prices have jumped 118% since 1965, while income has only increased by 15%. To afford a home in 2021, Americans need an average income of around $144,000 US, which is far more than the median household income of around $69,000. The median sale price hit a record $295,000 US in April, which is up 17.6% from April 2020, according to the Houston Associate of Realtors. The volumes of homes selling for $500,000 US more than doubled over the previous year. In October, that bump declined considerably, falling to just 8.6%. That doesn't mean that prices are about to fall, so some people are worried about a potential crash. And as I always say, history does not repeat, but it rhymes. Now we will uncover the shocking truth and draw a parallel between the 2008 bubble and the 2021 housing market bubble to get an idea of the storm that is coming. So the slowdown in prices was expected. We all knew that it was going to happen. Both Zillow as well as Lehman Brothers are a classic example of greed overshadowing rationality. The management of Zillow thought that their algorithm and huge data could predict the market, but it failed, and it did not make it in the case of Lehman Brothers too. So in a state of greed, we all humans develop a bias which makes us trust the information which validates our conviction and belief. We simply start looking for reasons that will validate what we believe in and what will help us in achieving our goals. Let us look at what happened in the case of Lehman Brothers, and then we will look at what happened in the case of Zillow before I tell you about my prediction of housing market for 2022.
I believe we made poor judgments in timing for the assets that we bought and for the businesses that we supported. Would I love today be able to reach back and take those? Yes. Did I say in the very beginning, I take full and total responsibility for the decisions that I made. I only made those decisions, though, with the information that I had at the time. I could have, and in retrospect, should have, closed all of our mortgage origination platforms. Instead of doing it in the middle of 07, I probably should have done it in 05 or 06. People would have looked at us and said, that's a really irrational move. I would have had to say, I have a crystal ball, I see what's going to happen.
Yes, the disaster that Zillow went through was due to the fact that it used its data with an intent to rip the market. But their plan backfired and their stock price fell off the cliff. So ARK Invest sold its entire portfolio of Zillow stocks. So just like Lehman Brothers, the management of Zillow thought that it has more data than anyone else. It tried to predict accurately future home prices. The technologies have evolved. The companies are different and the people are different, but the underlying emotion is the same. So the greed and conviction that house prices are going to go up further lured Zillow management to purchase more than 14,000 homes in just 6 months. But things did not go as they predicted and Zillow overspent. It is shocking to see that it resulted in a combined loss of $550 million and shattered the business that was rapidly growing. Moreover, 25% of Zillow's entire staff lost their jobs and the board decided to shut off the project. So the market participants, the market forces, and many other factors together result in the evolution of market. So when it comes to housing market projections, we should take them with a grain of salt because the market can evolve in ways that can shock us. And here is my outlook for 2022. So in USA, the mortgage payments in the last 5 years have gone up by 43% and the rental rates have gone up by 32%, and most of this increase came in the past 9 to 10 months. And that has made it difficult for people to pay rents in many areas of USA. Also, most importantly, the wages have gone up by only 22% during the last 5 years. So here are the conclusions. Number 1, mortgage payments going up with twice the rate of wage increases. And number 2, rents going up more than 50% faster as compared to wage increases. So in 2016, a typical mortgage payment was around $1,100 per month, and now it is around $1,500 per month. So that is chaotic for the American working class and consumers. The cost of living and the cost of housing is increasing way faster, and this means that the turmoil is ahead. These numbers are indeed alarming and is destabilizing the housing market as well as the economy. So imagine yourself in the shoes of a typical American worker, and let's say that you are paying a mortgage. Now, due to the increase in mortgage payments, you simply won't be able to spend much, and this means that the economy will suffer since the businesses won't be able to sell to you as much as before, and same will go for the other people too. And if the rents, housing prices, and the mortgage payments keep on hiking, the probability that you and many other people will default on mortgage and get foreclosed and evicted will be much higher. So this situation cannot just continue. And either the mortgage payments and rent increases need to come down and match the worker wage increase rate, or else the wages must increase to catch up with the mortgage payments increase rate and the rental increase rate. So one of these scenarios must happen, or a mix of them must happen to prevent a collapse of the housing market. So here are the hourly wage increases during 2021, and we can see that they have been increasing but not as fast as rents and mortgage payments. And the consequences are right in front of us. Even in the UK, situation is not different. The home ownership is plummeting, and even though a massive 80% of 25 to 34-year-olds would rather buy than rent a house, despite that desire to be homeowners, they are simply not able to realize their dream. So despite an array of support schemes available, the fact is that house prices have continued to accelerate over the past few years. As a result of this, many feel the government isn't doing enough to support young people to buy their first homes. Due to soaring house prices, young people may feel a housing market crash presents their only hope of owning property. While the housing market is notoriously difficult to predict, it is possible that house price inflation will cool in 2022. This theory is supported by the fact that mortgage approvals have plummeted recently, indicating that lenders are tightening their criteria. On a similar note, the Bank of England is under pressure to increase its base rate to cool inflation. If that happens, then mortgage costs will likely increase too, potentially reducing house prices. And I have seen it, I have lived it. And let me tell you, it is one of the fundamental traits of a bubble, meaning overly inflated prices and the investors or buyers chasing these increasing prices until they don't. So I firmly believe that it is not a question of if, but when, as far as the housing market crash of UK and USA is concerned. Thank you for your time and appreciating my content. If you like such videos, please consider subscribing. I publish videos on personal finance, investing, and macroeconomic outlook of the economies across the globe each week. Also, please comment on the video and leave a like to bless the YouTube algorithm. I will appreciate your support. Also, I have mentioned a link to Blockify in the description, which will give you up to $250 worth of free Bitcoin when you use it. It will also give you up to 9% interest on stable coins, which is way higher than the 0.5 or 1% interest which you will get when you put your money in a savings account with a bank. Have a nice day, and I will see you in the next video.